Ja, herzlich willkommen beim Rockhard Festival 2025. Ich sitze hier mit Fred Estby von Dismember, die heute unser Headliner sind. First of all, thank you for being here. For us, it's very exciting to have you here because it's your exclusive, only German show this year. Are you excited for tonight's show?
Yeah, we're very excited, and we've been looking forward to this for a very long time. Like you said, it's an exclusive German show for this year, so. And also, I've known about this festival for a very long time, but I never been able to get here. So, and sometimes, I do sound for other bands, but I never managed to get here. So, I've heard so many good things about it, and it's all true. So it's a really, really nice festival.
We're happy to hear that. And, I mean, you have such an amount of great material. How do you set up a set list for an evening like this?
Well, you first of all, you have to think about how long. So if you have 90 minutes, you have to make sure you have enough songs, and then you have to mix it up so it's not just the same songs that you always play, because we don't like that. We want to change it. We change the set list for every show.
Okay.
So. But some songs you have to play because otherwise people get really sad, But apart from that, we try to mix it up.
Yeah. Okay. And since you reunited in 2019, you play selective shows only. What would you say are the advantages of doing so? And is there also something you miss when not like touring heavily, like a month or so?
Well, what can the positives first then? Okay,
yeah.
So what's good is that it's always fun. You don't get tired of it. You don't get homesick. You actually and you have the energy to not only play the show but meet the people. We do signing sessions every show we do because we want to meet the fans, talk to them a little bit, let them take pictures and all that. And also it's like meeting people in general. When you get older, you get kind of like the social battery can, start declining if you're touring for too long and all that. And you have to do it every day. So in that sense, it's easier this way. Also, I feel like it's a little bit more exclusive. So for people know that, they're not going to come through here every 6 months or 10 to 12 months, So they know that, all right, if I want to see this band, I have to, get my ticket for the show now. So that's the positive. The downside can be that, you play one show a month at most, and then you're like, you play and it's fun and you're warmed up and everything's great and you're having a good time. Then you're like, back home.
Yeah.
So that's the downside.
Okay. And is there something, an item or anything that you need to bring when you go on tour, or that you need to have when you are on tour?
Yeah. I mean, our guitars and like the regular equipment. But since we fly into every show, we don't really bring our amps and drum kits and all that. So we have to have that rented for us, which is fine. But that sometimes can be a little bit of a problem.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can't find the exact components that I use for drums. Okay. So that can be a problem, but for the most part, it's fine.
Okay. And something like, a special
like a mascot
drink or
well, not really. It's more like as we get older, like one person is gluten intolerant. So but that's important. Like if he doesn't eat right, he's going to play guitar for 90 minutes. I mean, that's kind of not the best if you don't get fed properly. Yeah. So it's more stuff like that. We don't have any like, special like, I have to bring my pillow on the plane or something like that. No.
Okay. And if you compare touring, I mean, you have the experience of touring in the 90s where it was just blooming everything, and now of course many things have changed. How would you compare that to play a show nowadays back then?
I mean, it was more new, so you didn't really know what to expect. So when everything was, if you had a really good show, you were like, whoa, this is like, death metal is really like bigger than I thought it was. But now the cool thing is that then you didn't know how many people were really into it. Now you come back like 30 years later, and some of the people that were there back in 91 still here for the shows
that's
now.
sick.
And that's cool. So you have like several generations of fans who actually are dedicated to the music, And the cool thing too is to see that they're still into newer death metal. So they start listening to the younger bands of today,
Yeah.
I like that,
Okay. You like kind of follow the newer death metal scene and stuff
I try.
like that?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's important that you don't just like, we're doing this and I don't care about the rest. I mean, this is music and it's a community. It's a lifestyle. So it's, people told us when we were 16, like, oh, you're going to grow out of it. When in 2 years' time, you're going to forget about this.
Yeah.
If you play music, you're going to probably, play like Beatles music or whatever, which I don't mind the Beatles, but we didn't do that. We're still playing it. And therefore, I think it's important to see what are the kids today, like when they play this kind of music or extreme music in general, how do they look at it? So it's nice to talk to them, and get some time to hear their opinion, and how they see it.
I like that. Also, I think that the new scene of death metal is also pretty strong in the last years with bands like Black Curse or something like that. And last but not least, last year, I think you already mentioned that you are working on a new album.
Yep.
Is there anything you can reveal so far?
Not really. It's a little bit problematic. I live in the U.S.
Yeah.
Richard lives in Belgium. The other three live in Sweden. So it's kind of like it's very hard to. And I'm like, okay, let's not do any more shows for next year. And then we're like, yeah, okay, let's start working on the album for real. Like planning on what studio we're gonna record it in and all that. And then suddenly it's like, oh, we got 10 to 15 more shows next year. So. We're kind of like, oh, we can't just say no to shows either. So it's kind of like, all right, we have to do the shows. Now we have to prioritize to play the shows. So, but it will come.
Okay. Do you have a special vision? Because something, for example, that interests me, as I'm a huge old school maniac, is, for example, the production. You nowadays have, of course, a lot of different options to do so.
Yep.
I like the really raw old school sound still. Do you have a vision for that already?
I do not want it to sound modern.
Perfect.
We all agree on that. So, we actually, what I would like to do, if possible, is to record it the way we did, like back in 98.
Yeah.
Like reel-to-reel tape and, old microphones and all that. So that's what we're going to try to do, I think.
Yeah. That sounds really good. Then I'm really looking forward to the new album.
Well, me too. Well, I'm happy you are, because I think it's going to be good. We just need the time to plan it out, because we don't want to release something that is not 100% either.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. Thank you very much for
Thank
taking
you.
the time.